There it is. All right, everyone. Welcome to Gold Rush Weekly Watch List. Got a few people in here this week. You'll be seeing that we have our small account challenge, where one of the new pieces for this week is going to be that people have to present at least 2 tickers. I know that we're going to have Corey or Hans Soko present, and then anybody else who wants to present, put in the chat. We're probably going to get you guys started in the beginning. Oh, John Mangoon is Blastoise. That works. Welcome, since this is your first one. So we'll go over a market recap overall. So last week, excuse me, we had a rebound off that 100-day moving average on SPY ES, and we stayed pretty strong, and we filled the gap from the Thursday, from the over the weekend gap down. We filled it back up, but we came into a decent resistance. Let's see if it'll let me draw, because I have drawings off. Oh, brings them all back. So you can see that we kind of came into a decent resistance from this area where we banged into, slowed down a little bit, and fell through. It was a support back here as well. So our key for this week is to kind of get over this range of 445 to get bullish. We get over 445, I think we're out of the woods with everything. If you look at a lot of these major pullbacks, we kind of get like W recoveries out of them. Here's last September, we came down, we rebounded real hard, almost a full 100% retracement, and then dumped back through starting the second week of October. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it's always something to be aware of. So really where we're going to watch is this 445 range. And then as we get back up into this all-time high again at like 450. And then we can get real bullish again if we get over the 455, 454 area. One thing about SPY is it kind of gave us an inside bar, and the Qs did as well for Friday. So this gives us a good spot where if we break below the low of Friday, we can kind of play a little bearish momentum down. And if we break above the high of Friday, we can at least probably run it up into this 448 range. Like I said, that 445 is probably going to spring it off if we actually close above it. And then Qs looking very similar. We have basically inside bar, pretty tight, but that's a tight range in the back-to-back days. So we'll look for that to pop one way or the other. We have this demand zone that we had already kind of highlighted, which we dipped low again on Monday, same gap down as SPY. And then once we got above, we kind of held that position. So we're kind of in between a nice support resistance here, and we're just going to wait for it to make up its mind. A toast. And then, so that's really, we're kind of in a holding pattern. We're going to wait, see tomorrow, see if it makes up its mind one way or the other, especially with the inside bars. Did we have, I know Hans is finishing up making dinner stuff. Is there anybody in here that wants to compete for the next week of small account challenge and wants to present? I think A Toast and JR Banks might be the only ones that have the 25%. So A Toast, are you looking to be in the small account challenge for this week? And did you want to present? Okay, no problem. So when Hans is ready, he can chime in and let us know that he's ready. I will start my couple watch lists. Which,
yeah, give me like 10 minutes.
No problem. Take your time, man. We're good. We got you. So my first one's going to be Cisco. I've basically been presenting you guys with inside bars on these watch lists. I haven't gone through my full set yet to see where everything else is, but I did go through the inside bars and double inside bars. And we have Cisco that has a pretty nice setup. Should be quick and easy. If you look for my upside, I actually went for the high of the bar next to it just because it's so close. This high ended up being 56.81. And then the next to it, the engulfing bar next to it was 56.91. I mean, it's 56.90. So that's like a 9-cent difference. So I just want to make that whole number of 56.90 as our break point. And to the upside, if we can get a close above this, we should continue to at least test the 57.45 range. So basically a 55-cent move, which we can kind of make do with. And then with continuation, our first hard line is going to be that 57.74, where we see it came down and kind of bounced a couple times. To the downside, we have a good quick scalp opportunity if we close below 56.22 to ride it down to 55.60, the bottom of this bar. It's not my absolute favorite just because the movement of it, but the play should be there to take advantage of the moves. And then AMD also gave a very nice inside bar, which I know we caught with Huey. So let's see if we can get some continuation out of it, or even if we just pull back a little bit, right? Maybe pull back to the second price target of like 102, 103 range. But those will basically be a break of 106 and a break of 104.68. We have tremendous upside if we get above the first price target at 106.86, because it had a nice little basing area here. So if we can get through this basing area, we might go test that 110 area again. You can see that it kind of has stayed in this larger flag type pattern on the daily. I mean, if we want to kind of get into it, right, we got 1, 2 flag tap. I know we like to have them a little tighter and more evened up, but kind of the same thing holds with the flag pattern taps that Jay talks about. So those are my two main ones that I have. I have some other ones that I kept in here from last week, like HD call. We have, let's go to the daily and give it a look. We were back in this all-time high range up here. So I was looking for it to break over 339.80. If we can get that break, we're probably going to have continuation through to new all-time highs. And it's still kind of riding a decent uptrend here now since it came down. Got a little bit of a found a bottom, retest the bottom, and start lifting back up the past few weeks. So this could be our continuation point if the market stays strong. Which other one did we have? We had Disney that's pulled out of the range. That wasn't the one that I really wanted to look at. I think Moderna's back close to a range. Yep, Moderna came into our range from a little while ago, closed back in. So we got a little fake out there. So we can still play these lines that we've been playing for a while, and it held its trend as well. So we kind of play it into these lines a little bit. So I'm looking for a break of 437 for the pop that we've seen each time that it's broke 437.80. And then if it finally gives up this 422.16 line, it's held pretty tight. It's almost the 418 really at this point. We got some drop in us. So it probably goes down and tests 400 if we get to that point. We got people in the waiting room. So those are the main ones that I'm looking at. The memes didn't look too enticing. I did keep GME in just because it's also in this range that it's kind of been thrown up inside bars. So it's easier to watch. We moved it down from this area here. It's trending down harder than most of it, but we do have a little bit of basing happening in this large range. Jay, you want to hop on for a little bit and then wait for Hans to get set up?
Yeah, for sure.
And then anybody who just came in, if you're in the small account challenge and you want to present tonight, put it in the chat so we know. We'll be pulling you guys up here to do your presentation as soon as JCat goes through his. Oh, I gotta stop sharing. Sorry, I gave you host, but then stop sharing.
No, you're good. Can you guys see mine?
It's starting. Yep, there it is, Jay.
All right, perfect. Mine is pretty small. I was telling us earlier before everybody else got on. Everything's kind of either already run and I don't like any setups, is basically what's happened. So for me personally, there are very few things, especially because I don't look through. I'm not much of a hunter in terms of looking for stocks that are hitting my my criteria. But I did find a few. Hopefully, I don't steal one from Hans. But one of my favorite names is Fiverr, FVRR. So full disclosure, I've been in Fiverr since about this day right here. 9/8, I believe that is. Yeah, September 8th. I've got a pretty, so also full disclosure, I'm very, very bullish on Fiverr. So I've got an ultimate target back up to these 340 highs, and I've got a very, relatively long-term play to do that. But if we want to talk about short-term, it's been putting a nice little 2-candle pattern here. This may have a name, may not have a name. I have no idea, but I do like that it is, a hammer here, another hammer here, holding the 100-day. 8-day is short-term momentum, which is, you can see that it's just kind of bounced off of it and has held it. 20-day moving average is moving up here. So I kind of like it this week. I'm a broken record, so I'd like to see maybe another day or two of consolidation before it goes, but it could go. And, basically no matter if it goes on Monday or if it goes on Wednesday, as long as it holds 200, we've got a $17 target here, basically up to the 200-day. Breaks through that, then that's a bad. I don't know why that trend line is there. Breaks through that, and we're looking at this trend line here, up to 230 or so. Got a bit of a volume shelf that is probably going to hold it down, but that lo and behold kind of coincides with this line. So depending on time frame of a trade, a quicker trade would be from 200 to 217, a longer trade would be from 200 to 230. Zoom is my next one, and I was drawing these lines from my phone at my son's baseball game, so give me a second here to clean this up a little bit. But we have a descending wedge or a descending triangle. So this one is very much market dependent. I know Zoom kind of gets counter market at times, but if the rising tides lift all boats. So if we get a nice little run out of the market, I believe it'll pop out of this descending wedge up to about 305, and then ideally we could try and get gap fill, but I would be more looking of a move from 270 to roughly 300. Could test down to the bottom of this, and let me connect these lines. If you want to get super technical about this, it theoretically could play all the way down to 252 before it goes. This hammer, even though it's a red candle, this hammer gives me, I like it. Come on, why is it telling this to me now? But I like the way this hammer is. It's kind of getting into the bottom of that wedge. And really, like this last little bit would be tough for it to start trading in this small of a range, especially the way with Zoom moves. So your riskier entry is within the wedge to let it go. Your safer entry is a pop out of the wedge. So if it pops out tomorrow, anything above 280 or so. But the good thing about these patterns and this like all patterns really, is you've got defined risk. So if you got in here, anything outside of that line is your stop. So no matter where it goes, anything outside this line is your stop. Anything above is your quote unquote safe entry. Last one that caught my eye was Docusign. Basically, it's just building this bear flag. And again, sorry, my lines are a little bit off because I was doing this for my kid's game. But you get the idea here. It's just big move down after earnings, consolidating. My guess is another leg down. And I know I've been talking about hammers and how I like them, but none of them had all of this to deal with in front of it. So my guess is we get a breakdown, 100 days right beneath it. Even if it hit that, you could get an entry at 269, 270, still get another, 4 points. Breaks down beneath that. Your next real support would be the 200, so it's down to the 246. So if the market does break down, this would be a good candidate for you over the next couple of days. I don't know if you can see my, where you should be able to see my watch list. NQ was up earlier. Not that I put too much stock in 25 minutes on after open on a Sunday, but it tried to go, and as of this moment, it doesn't look like it wants to. So, we got to look to play both sides of the market. And right now, Docusign would be my pick to get a breakdown. We also can, if you squint enough, you can see a very ugly looking Head and Shoulders, but it's there. And if we're going off of that, and this is why it's even uglier. Here's your neckline. And lo and behold, it coincides with this flag. So it's been holding this neckline. It dumped beneath and popped right back over, dumped it, popped right back over, dumped it, popped over. So it's trying. It's trying its heart out to dump beneath, this Head and Shoulders neckline as well as this flag that it's building. My guess is we're going to see downside before we see upside. That's it. I'll be honest with you. That's it. I went through all my charts, and there's a lot of things that look like they could run. If we want to talk about day trades, we can look at some things, but that's all I've got. And I just pulled up the chat, and Hans, you're ready. Give it up to you, my man.
Yep. Hans, which one are you going to use? The Hans or the Han Soko?
Not the one I'm talking on. So the other one.
Okay.
Couldn't find my headphones for my computer. So
you're talking on Han Soko, so we'll put you on Hans.
There we go.
All right. You are made a co-host. You can share your screen whenever you're ready.
All right. All right. Can you see?
Yep.
All right. So I had a couple that I was looking at. The two I'm going to do is Charge Point and Play. The other two that I think are worth looking at are MP and Pen. MP put in a huge candle on Friday. And Pen, there's this guy on Twitter, Jake W something. That's a trend spider guy that's like super convinced Pen's going to hit like 85 by November. So that's something that's on my list. So anyways, Charge Point, it got my attention on the daily because I noticed it likes this demand zone here. And it tends to touch it and rip every time. And we are getting pretty close to getting in here. I think it usually triggers, like closer to 19, like the 1920s, 1930s. And we aren't quite that low yet. So I'm watching for it to, spend a day or two, maybe 3 down here, get a nice wick on a daily candle, and start its march up. Looking at it on the monthly, you can kind of see, it touches it and it ends up moving back up, moving back up, moving back up. So I think that's coming soon. My volume profile study is garbage and I didn't have time to figure it out. So I made my own little volume shelves based on the TOS one. I just don't like how it looks. So lots of volume here. I think you can see it better on the weekly. So we're kind of chopping through this volume now. So I think if we hit 2287, it should run straight to the supply zone that it's touched or went through every single other time it has hit this demand zone. If you look at the volume down here, we've been getting increasing volume the last couple weeks, which also makes me think it's ready. Kind of got this trend lines going down. One look better on a one time frame and one look better on the other. So I think this top one is kind of what I think might happen. On the weekly view, I think the other one was the daily. Yeah. So kind of ignored this high point. It's got a bunch of taps this way. So I think in the next couple of weeks, we have a move coming. Looking at the daily chart, it seems that whenever it gets above the 9 EMA, which is my turquoise line, teal line here, that's when it makes its move. So we'll be watching for that. And then for terms of contracts, for this week, which I don't think it's necessarily ready, but things happen. The $30 weekly has the highest OI. To the right, you'll see the chart of that contract. It's like $7. And, a couple weeks ago, it was, 50, 60. So it's been pretty much dying. So, I wouldn't put too much faith in this, but it could be a lotto play. Longer term, the January contract is about $1 and the $30 has the highest OI. So before I move tickers, is there anything that anybody has for me?
That's great. I like it, Hans. One thing I have you put your alerts in for that 19 area?
Not yet. That's what I was going to do tonight. So I think I'm going to set it really breaking 20, going up, and then, touching I think 19, 60 on the downside.
Yep. I probably would almost only set it for that 1960 because that's your ideal entry, right?
Yeah.
Let's see it tap that, and then we can look to see if there's strength enough. But no, great. I like it. I like the setup.
Cool. Yeah. The only thing that's got me a little iffy on not necessarily wanting to run to take a play is, I don't know if we're going to see this October pullback or if we're still going to chop for a while. And, I don't want to put a ton of capital out there on a longer term thing, but, the January one should hold up pretty well. I don't really see it breaking this demand zone. So I think it's got to go sooner than later. And then the other one, so I found all these last week. I don't know, I had a night where I was just had a little time. So I found a bunch of tickers for my list. So this is Play Dave and Buster's, which had an amazing run last year that I absolutely did not take a play on. I think I noticed it around November and I didn't know what I was doing yet, but it had a great run, kind of flagged out here. In the last 2 months, it's starting to look good again. Noticing increasing volume. It found this little demand zone, support line around 30.42 or so, a little higher that it likes. I would have loved to catch this. I think it was last week when it started moving. Yeah, last week was the big move. So this is the weekly chart. It tap, that knife down, shook probably a lot of people that were holding, and then it started doing its thing. Couldn't really hold above the 9. This is the simple 20, the green to red line. This really should have got it on my radar, all this action, but I really wasn't looking at longer term stuff. So if we go to the daily, I think I noticed it on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, and it had a great week. It got over the 9. Volume profiles and building, looking good, and it's just marching on up. So how to play this? So I've got my mini volume shelves here again. So it's kind of above the largest one, in the middle of another one. So I think if it can get through 43, we should see it touch 47.15. If it doesn't make it through here, I could see it kind of coming back down, and potentially, I lost a line here, but I had a 38.67 support line, so somewhere right around here, above this volume shelf. I could kind of see it coming back, retesting, bouncing off the 9 and that support line, which I would love to see happen, because then I would feel more confident getting into a play. Contracts, the January 22 $45, which is well within this range. I could see it definitely is kind of bouncing between these 2 price points for a while. If it doesn't, nothing really happens, although it did love the second half of the year last year in winter months. So the January 22 has the best OI. Skills on here are awful. Let's see if I can pull that contract up. And then for a shorter term play, there is the October 15th 45, I believe, had the best OI as well, or the 50. They're relatively cheap. The longer term play, it's gotten as low as 150, which is when I would have loved to catch it. And it's kind of been, see back in June, when it was $42, obviously with more time on it, it was, double the price. So I could see this looking really good if the next couple weeks play out the way it has historically. And then the shorter term contract, it's obviously going to be dependent. Personally, I'm kind of on Jay's style, where this is already ran. It'd be really hard for me to talk myself into taking the short one now. But I totally could see it getting up here, retesting, or getting here, retesting. And if it retests here, or if it especially retests here, that's going to be my alert. So I'll probably alert it probably under 33, or maybe even 33.65, the bottom of this volume shelf. And I'd probably set an alert here. I think I had said 38.67 was my support line that I lost. So probably like 38.60. Yeah. Anybody have any questions or anything on play?
That's great. I like the seasonality piece to it. I looked it up while you were talking, and the seasonality, I mean, it has like a nice little kind of consolidation through the end of September through October, and then it just seems to lift off the past few years, even with post-COVID, at about the end of October, to really kind of take off to the next leg.
Yep. I mean, like I'm already, like, I haven't been to Dave & Buster's in a while, so that's on my radar. I seen Drake rented out of Dave & Buster's last week, so it's starting to pop. Especially up here in the Midwest, it gets cold, and we need places to go. So,
no, that's good. I like it. Thank you so much for sharing. I don't think there's anybody else in here right now that's 25% crew, gang, whatever.
Yeah.
So with that, we can push it off the tee.
Yeah. Well, so definitely, I'm probably gonna run to eat, but take a look at Penn. It's got like a cup and handle thing going on. And if anybody wants to,
do you want to present that real fast, or you got to go?
I can do it. I mean, I'm kind of just like reiterating what I've seen, but like, MP was on my radar here, and it just was great on Friday. But Penn, I've been bullish on Penn. I played it back here and got clapped. And that was like the last of my averaging down. Would have been amazing to get down here, kind of like a triple tap. I think Jason yelled at me for saying this one's a triple tap down, but love to get down here on the support line. But yeah, I think definitely a cup and handle going here. And I want to say the chart I saw, and I'll have to reference it. I think there might have been inverse head and shoulders somewhere.
Right there, you can see it. Right there, the center line. You figure your head goes down right on earnings.
Yeah.
So there's your head, shoulder on that 64.25 line.
Yep.
The most recent shoulder being a little higher, but that's probably that played out almost beautifully, almost exactly. You can see that it ran right up to each line. So I mean, it's in a good pullback area now. It came down to a support. Lifted off. So it looks
volume's decreasing a little bit. I'm guessing it probably will hold the support line pretty well. With sports seasons, basketball starting in 2 weeks, NFL is going on. The sports betting places in a good spot. I personally like this ticker's price action better than DraftKings usually. So I've kind of got this range of 84 to 74 that I think is fair game over the next coming weeks. And if you look at a longer term, I mean, it's been as high as 142. Even if we throw that out and look at this, 110.98 zone, I could see it getting its way over to closing in on $100 sooner than later. I want to say the contract that this guy is real heavy on is this one. I think it's I don't know if it's 80 or 85. I think I'd be cool with either one. But these contracts usually have pretty good action. We're not going to get no 500% probably, but I mean, even getting in a couple days ago, would have been almost 100%. So yeah, that's what I got. But we should do this more often. I'm down.
Awesome. I appreciate it. And we really like anybody who can contribute, and it's good for everybody to see that it doesn't have to be us always presenting, and we try to make it a learning experience for everybody too. I mean, we could open it up to other people to just present stuff just so they get used to it. I really want to explain to you, I don't know, not explain, but get it out to you guys. Like, if you present, you will learn so much more, because you'll start going through and seeing the little stuff that you might have missed during the week or during the day that you're looking at it, because we can all kind of chime in on it too, right? And then nothing has taught me better than presenting to other people, because I really want to think it through.
Right. So, and me being, a teacher, like, you have to put in more time to be able to feel comfortable enough to talk about it. So, me not being, on your guys' level, this definitely had me spend, a couple extra hours and really make sure I knew what I was talking about before I said. Where during the week, I might look at something for 5 or 10 minutes and think it's good, but didn't do the due diligence or, look at it as closely as I could have. So definitely, give it a shot. Even if it's like in a smaller group setting, if you're nervous about talking to everybody, talk to somebody about your charts. I think it'll be a good experience for you guys. And everyone's that's saying thank you. I appreciate you all. But I'm gonna go eat, so I'm gonna watch this replay when you guys post it later.
Thanks, Corey. T, I think I gave you co-host already. Let me double check, but you can hop in when you're ready, T. Here, I'll make you co-host. There, maybe I didn't. You're ready if you're ready, T, go for it.
Awesome. Evening, everyone. I will share my screen quickly. I don't have a lot today, just a few ones that think are worth sharing.
Sounds like all of us are in the same position after the pop this week. Everybody only has a couple to go.
Yep, definitely. All right, so can you all see my screen?
That's good, T.
All right, perfect. So I've been watching financials for a while. We had the energy pop last week. Or energy, energy started moving, and I've been watching financials as well because it's been acting quite funny lately. And the first one I was looking at was XLF. And I'll show you XLF, and then I'll show you BAC, so you'll see why I'm looking at it. So this is XLF just from I just drew this from November last year, you can see that we've had this spot, which is literally this double bottom here, but I circled here. Circled here has been in this trend, upward trend since November last year, and then we came to expand this part so you see what I'm saying. We came to June, and then it halted around this area, dropped back down. We had this little stuff, came back there again into that zone, got rejected, dropped down here, came back here, got rejected, dropped down here, and then we're going back again. So there's definitely some movement on XLF to an upward movement. So at the slightest, we know that it will probably get to $39, even if it doesn't go over it. So that's already giving us an idea of what we should be looking at for strike, because we know it could get around here. And if it goes past, great. If it gets rejected, we already know what we're aiming for here. So that's that one, which then led me to just open BAC to check it out. I've not checked the other ones, just sorry, just BAC. I'm trying to take this off, but I hate this shit. So I'm trying to see a way of removing this stuff, but where is it? Yep, perfect. And if I show you BAC, this is BAC also, almost exactly what you're seeing with XLF. Runs up since November, runs up, gets up here in June, dropped down, tested it second time, tested it third time, and tested it again, came close to the 200 and started reversing. So this, obviously we already know this, if XLF is going, the financials are probably going with it, but this just gives us, like I said, an idea of what strikes we can be looking at. I just draw this in the last 2 minutes, so apologies for how dirty it looks, but this just gives you an idea of, okay, first we need to get past this resistance, and if we go, we have this one, and if it gets past it, we'll probably have higher resistance, but at least now we're looking at 43.5, $44 out as our strike, based off on what this chart is saying to us. And like I said, it's the same thing. If you look at this and look at XLF, you're literally seeing the same stuff. So that's for financials, and you can go through all the other banks. I've not looked at all the other banks yet, but I can assure you all the other banks will be looking similar at this point. Majority of them will be looking similar. It looks like there's something happening with financials, so it's definitely one that to look for. This is QS. Most of us made some money from QS. Jerome Profits mentioned it last week on the group, and I decided to look into it because he's dropped quite a few bangers lately. So when he mentioned it, I decided to go look at QS just to see what it was, and I could see why he called it. QS is perfect. It's this is the daily chart. It's been slipping for a while, since literally May up until now, and then we've had the first breakout. So this is the very first breakout. We had the breakout. It came back to retest it. Sorry, let me enlarge this part because I think it's tiny. So this is QS. Had our first breakout, held there a little bit. We had this other breakout. We had this bit. So the more I look at it, the more I look at QS like a multi-week play. It's not something that we'll take for once. Yes, we have a resistance here around $32. Probably have one. Yeah, maybe $32, but it goes past that. We already have another target around 39. So it's a long-term play that I intend to keep playing for a couple of weeks, as long as it goes in the direction I'm looking at. And I expect it to eventually push up and get close to this $40 mark before it gets rejected. Now, is that going to happen in a week or not, or two? Hell no. But yeah, QS is definitely on my radar for the next month, and that's because I think there's huge possibility that this could move. And if you look at let's see what the 2 hours looks like on the 2 hour charts, this is what it looks like. So we had the first pop, the sideways movement, the next pop, the sideways movement. This might be the start of that ladder that staircase that we always talk about. That stair movement we always say, oh, goes up like this. This might be the start of it. So if that happens, then this is we might have this go on for a couple of days. So I don't think we're done with QS yet, in my opinion. Um, so the next one I'm also looking at is V. Um, V is very it's very funny. V is just this is the literal definition of a trend, right? V has been in a trend forever. And this was just the path I drew. If I pull this up, you can see that it's been in this upward trend since 2016, right? So it's not, and trend could go for years. It doesn't have to be a week or a day, or a trend could last for years, right? So V has been in that trend, it's been going upwards. If you look at it, even when it pulls back, it's doing that all in an upward direction. But I decided to just pick from 2019 to get an idea. And I can see that it's been doing this. Even when it goes up that way, it comes back down. Yes, it dropped heavily here because of obviously COVID, but normally it would have been around here and just what you're seeing now. So what I'm looking at with V is what part of this up and down roller coaster are we? And right now, if I expand this a little bit, we're heading back up. So it's come down, is one way it wants to do it back down, now it's heading back up. So with this one, it's very easy to see why I'm looking at anywhere. Yeah, this is the target, but if I'm looking at somewhere around here, so a 245, 240, strike for me over a 2 or 3 week period will not be unreasonable, because just judging by this and judging by how it has performed, up, down, down, now it's down, we're expecting it to go up. A 240 strike mark for me is not out of place. It's currently at 231, so I could put something here, and this is just for me, sorry. Could put something here, which would then tell me, okay, when do I want what strike am I looking for, and when do I think that strike could occur? When a move is happening like this, I always say taking a week plays is doing a disservice to myself, because this is not me guessing. This is me seeing what has happened before. This is me seeing how the movement goes. I can see how the movement goes. I can't predict the future, but I can, you know, I have a better chance. I have my probability is higher here that using past occurrences that it will come up closer to somewhere around there. So that's what I'll be looking at for this one. For V, let me just quickly see what the 2 hour looks like. Yep, I'm not surprised. It's on that upward move as well. So, yep, it's definitely on the up. So it's a play that you want to look into. And then the last one was XLE, which was the energy one I called out last week. And this is XLE, very simple on the daily. My cup, my handle, bouncing off the 200. I expect that to keep going. It's this one, I'm not even going to spend too much time on it. So this is textbook cup and handle. For everybody that um, knows that pattern, it's one of my favorite patterns, because it's 9 times out of 10 it does what it's supposed to do. So in this case, we've had our cup, we've had our drop down, sideways movement, crossed back up, pulled back to the 200, which is a great spot for it to pull back to, rested on the 200, and now it's bouncing back up. And if I move closer into it, you could see what I'm looking at. Yep, this is XLE. So it's already moving. So I think the contract I called last week, I think it was the 52.5 call for 1029, because I wanted to give this one all the time it needed. That's why I called that particular one, since it's still at 50 now. I wanted to give you enough time to run. So I think I called out the 52.5, which is literally here. Is it there? Somewhere around here. I think it will go past it. I personally think it will go past it, but I was playing safe because this is all still we're still within the region of the cut of the handle here. We've not even broken out. Because in reality, if the real handle breakout is here, like this is where the move starts, but this is where we start getting into new price zones. So I'm being very conservative by the strike I've taken. If this move continues, because once it gets past here, which is $56, I think we have more room to go up here. But I'm just being extremely conservative with this one. But that was why I called out this play last. Mute.
Sorry, Tay. I hit that by
So
accident.
no worries. Yeah, so like I said, that's why I called out the play last week, and I mentioned energy tickers to everybody that saw it either in Gold Rush or on IG. I did mention that energy tickers are back, and we need to put those on our radar. This is why I said so. So yeah, these are just the ones I've got for now. I'm not really looking to get into a lot this week. I'm focusing more on what's the right word, compounding than stretching myself thin in many thickers. So if I can get into three of these plays, those are the three plays I'll take, and if I can, scale out to get in 20, 30, 40 contracts on each of them, then that's what I'll do. But I think I know the key tickers that I'm going to focus on for this week. So, yep, these are the ones. Jay, that's it from me.
That's great. Thanks, Tay.
No
I
worries.
saw J Hoss just popped in. Are you still gonna wait till Tuesday, J Hoss, or are you gonna try to do it tonight? And you can type that.
Yeah, I'll probably have to wait till Tuesday, man. I literally just got home and
No problem. I just wanted to make sure we didn't skip over you.
No, all good. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yep. I will share my screen again because I didn't cover PLTR just because I didn't want to step on anybody's toes if they were going to present tonight. I know PLTR is a lot of times on Hans's list to look at. So give me 1 second to pull up my trading view again and share that. And also to Hans's pen, that had a nice little inside bar kind of setting up too. So let me share my screen and we'll go over both of those to kind of finish up tonight since we got about 5-10 minutes left. Let's go there. Everybody see PLTR on the screen? So yes, no, maybe so. I'll be able to check myself.
Yes.
All right, thanks. So PLTR gave us a nice inside bar. It's been super bullish, right, the past couple weeks, and it kind of came into this upper end resistance. So your real safe play is a break over that upper end resistance of 29.14, but also based on that inside bar, we could kind of get in over 28.76 and be careful at that 29.14 or high of 29.29. But if this thing gets over $30, it has room to go. Your next real areas are $30 point and then 31.35, and then from there 33.36. So I'm going to be watching this pretty close. I might not take the inside bar break, but I am putting an alert in there just so we know if the stock's moving. I might wait for this 30 break and then try to take advantage of that upside. But even if it doesn't, we still have some room for pullbacks to scalp it down to the downside as well. If it's just cooling off, maybe gives us a pullback to this 27.40 or even like the 26.75 area before going for the next run up, triple tap-esque, gives a little drop, then run through. PLTR, I think, just the overall momentum of it should keep going. There's a lot of volume rolling in. Look at that volume on force down day. So definitely keep that on your list. And then I just want to show you pen where it's probably set up for, just like Hans was saying, you could even get in for like 2 weeks out for a nice little play here. A break above like 76.70. You see I did my lines not off the exact inside bar, but because these were so close again, that for safer entries, if they break here, we have more certainty of the play, break and hold of these lines. So don't risk getting faked out on the closer break. Again, if we can get over this 76.68 area and then get another dollar in through, we have some real room to start exploding up to upside. So this is we could almost consider this little supply area in a way, and from here to here, and like your super safe could be over that 77.75, 77.60 area. Get over that, and we have definite room to get up in there. I mean, we might have a little pause around 80, but short of that, it should really get going. And even so, if it decides it wants to break down, we still have a $3 move to the downside if we break $74. So that could potentially be a nice, decent scalp to the downside, depending on the market weakness and whatnot. And then also, PayPal looks like it might be in a decent spot for a little pop too. I know I have a lot of extra lines here, but overall, it got a little tighter on Friday after getting some bullish momentum. Let's see if we can get continuation up through and into like 285. And if not, we'll have a tight area here that we'll watch that we could scalp down 74 to 73, basically 74.50 to 73. But then any loss of that, we can really get back into this range where it based a little bit. So those are the last couple that I had that kind of sets us up right on. JM, yes. Anybody else got anything? Want us to go over anything for the next couple minutes? Don't necessarily think everything looks good on my end. Trying to find the chat. There it is. If not, I guess we're good to go. It should be another great week for us in Gold Rush. I look forward Tuesday night to getting with any of the 25% gang. Let's get you guys to do a little presentation. Thanks to Corey for doing his 2 tickers tonight. He did a great job. I really think this can be a great learning tool for a lot of you. Even if you're not in the 25% gang and you want to present once and like let us look over what you're seeing, I mean, it's basically like free one-on-ones, right? Because we're going to go through and tell you what we do or don't see. Yeah, so thank you all so much for coming out and spending an hour with us on a Sunday night. I hope you guys had a good weekend. It was beautiful here on the East Coast, and can't wait to trade with you guys tomorrow. Appreciate all of you.
Thanks, guys. See you on Monday. See you tomorrow. Happy trading. GoldRushGang.net.